Welcome to the learners and viewers of the certificate course in consumer protection offered by the School of Law, Indira Gandhi National Open University. Today we are going to discuss an important topic that is called the changing trends in consumer movement. And this topic is covered under our course code CPI 101 and it is housed in block 2 and unit 7. Now, first of all, during this discussion, we will first take what are the changing trends observed or noticed. Then later on, we will move on to other related subjects. What is the changing trends observed? Now, initially, in the market forces, people means the traders, the producers, the suppliers, the distributors, the manufacturers. They were giving more emphasis and focus on value for money from the consumer, and they never bothered about anything other than the value of the money, means the price of the commodity. They are the prime criteria for them, and their motive is to earn profit. But later on, the people, then the traders, they realized that the money alone is not going to attract the consumers. So they felt that there is a need to give importance to the value for the people also, because ultimately the people who are going to purchase the commodity. So therefore the focus was shifted from obtaining only the value for money from the consumer to the value for the people. That has been that's the first shift. So the value for money is a very narrow concept, only money earning profit, that is all. But the value for money, value for people, that has widened the concept, that added additional importance on the fundamental aim of the consumer movement is concerned. So this is the first trend, movement from value for money to the value for the people. Very important trend that is observed in the market conditions and all. Then the second trend, what is the second trend? The emergence of global issues broadened the concept for better future for mankind. Again, see, the same thing only. Now the profit motive has moved. So from the profit motive, it's taken a backseat rather. Now when the new global order, when after the economic liberalization and all these things is introduced, then the shift is for the people on the future and the value of the mankind is concerned. That means what? The welfare and the life of the mankind should receive added importance. That is how the shifting is from. So again, this is mainly to the global issues, because now due to the information technology and all, the entire globe has become one village. So what is happening one part of the globe can be easily felt or realized in the other parts of the globe. Therefore there is no time gap at all. So therefore people started that the mankind, their welfare is very important. So this is the second shift of from money to the welfare of the mankind is the second trend. And the third one, not only that, now in the very recently, the environment has become the very serious issues globally. Environment, it affects the health of the people like anything, that whether it may be noise pollution or all type of pollutions, it affects the people very badly. Water pollution, air pollution, then pollution created due to natural disaster, man-made disasters. These are the evils of the present day economy is concerned. Now, what is the evolution? Then the evaluation of the products and producers by consumer is based on three added criteria, that is ethics, ecology, equity. Now the producers started realizing that it's not only the money or the profit that is important to remain in the business for a long run or long time. Then the ethics, the ecological issues, and the equitable distribution of the resources. They also started realizing these things are very important. So that is the third important trend that we observe now. Traditionally, the consumer movement has been largely focusing on rational behavior of the consumers in the market. The main objective of this exercise was to educate the consumers to obtain value for their hard-earned money when they exchange their money with goods, commodities, or services in the market. The idea behind this philosophy was that the consumer gets equal value of his money in the form of goods or services and not less than that. This approach was justified in all respects. The emergence of global issues such as the lack of basic needs and amenities, ecology, transnational human rights, and third world problems have broadened the concept of value for money in wider conception of basic quality of life. Value for people has become an additional fundamental aim of the consumer movement. Consumer education should enable the consumers to understand the real need for goods and services, consumer rights and responsibilities, and the fundamental socio political and economic factors, both logical and international, affecting the supply of the products and services. As seen in the rise of green consumerism, consumer education is orienting societies in consumer products and services based on an ethical and environmental concerns. Products are no longer merely judged on the quality, durability, performance, price, and after-sale services. Now, consumers now evaluate products and producers based on the three criteria, that is ethic, ecology, and equality. That implies the following issues and questions. It raises the following issues. Number one, is the issues raised are, is the production ethical? That's the first question the producer has to ask. Then, does the concerned company engage in business practices which have advantages of the lenient legal, social, and environmental regulation in third world host countries? Then it should also raise the issue this whether this is it compared with the strict regulation existing in the company's home country. So these are the issues that the company should understand. Then also they should ask themselves, does the company engage in malpractices like bribery and corruption, and or also is the production ecological friendly, or also is the production process is harmony with the environment? These are the real serious issues in the mankind across the globe as a whole. Also, is the production equitable? Is it fair in the traditions and economics of local communities and vulnerable third world societies? So these are the issues they should see, raise to themselves and try to find answer to this. Got the consumer content. And also, business enterprises, both government and private, have to fulfill their social responsibility, which can be judged by criteria such as request for the environment, sensitivity to cultural diversity, public accountability through disclosure of information, advancement of women's rights and positions, impact on local community based industries, and also employment politics and a fair deal for workers, including health and safety standards at the workplace. Further, ecological or green issues are particularly important, and the consumer should have the information to use their power of not buying products that are likely to. Then the point is, no, the people should have the information which are the products they should consume or purchase, which are the products they should not purchase also. So those on what they should give importance are they should avoid products which cause significant damage to the environmental due to undesirable expansion of the natural resources, exploitation of the natural resources. Then they should also not consume a disproportionate amount of energy during manufacture, use of disposal, then cause unnecessary waste either because of overpacking or of an unduly short product life. These product should be avoided. Then whether they use material derived from threatened species or threatened environment, whether they involve the unnecessary use of or cruelty of animal, whether this be for toxicity testing or for other purposes, and adversely affect other countries and communities, particularly in the third world countries. So these are the concerns that should be raised, and the issue should be addressed. What it says, we should become environmentally very conscious about what are the products that we should use, what are the products we should avoid, what are the products we should reject also. So these are the say trends in the consumer movement, where we've started with the value for money. Now we are being the welfare of the people is concerned. Now let us see some of the case laws related to this also. A few case laws to understand this. Number one, first we take the case of Jagdish Prasad versus LIC. This case is related to the insurance matter. The beneficiary of services would be included, though he is not hirer himself. The nominee of an insurance policy has to be seen as a consumer within the meaning of the act. So the issue involved is a beneficiary is the consumer, no doubt, but a nominee of the insurance policy. See, nominee, the right of the nominees arises after the death of the beneficiary. So in this case, the beneficiary who took the LIC policy nominated their own relation kith and kin. Then after his death, when the nominee approached the insurance company for the claim, the company refused to provide the claim, give the claim, honor the claim rather, on the ground that they are not the beneficiary. But in this case, the court held that no, nominee of the insurance policy is a consumer within the meaning of the consumer under the consumer protection, and he is a beneficiary of services hired with the policyholders concerned. This is the point cleared by the court in this case. Now, with this case related to the Provident Fund, the Regional Provident Fund Commissioner versus Shiv Kumar Joshi. This is the case decided by the Supreme Court. That the decision is that the duty performed by the Regional Provident Fund Commissioner under the Employees Provident Fund Scheme is a service. So it is a service rendered by the Insurance Provident Fund Commissioner. Statutory authority not infers the sovereign function while discharging statutory functions, provide service and would be liable in case of any deficiency in service. This ultimately means that if the Regional Provident Fund Commissioner failed or refused to say release the Provident Fund timely, that is the one as per the law and Provident Fund Act, it is the mandatory duty cast upon the employer to release the Provident Fund within 30 days of the completion of the service. The payment is made beyond 30 days, then the Regional Provident Commissioner is liable to pay interest on that amount beyond the 30 days period. So therefore, if there is any delay in the release of the Provident Fund, definitely we can ask for the say interest rate for the delayed period also. Therefore it's an interesting case on this also. Now this is Maruti Udyog versus Ahmed Panji. This is the decision about the National Commission. It is about whether during the warranty period of a commercial product, whether it qualifies for the services or not, service or not. The issue is, now what the court said, during the warranty period, the manufacturer or the dealer has to render free service, though goods may have been purchased for commercial purpose. Actually, under the Consumer Protection Act, any goods purchased for commercial purpose is not covered under the definition of consumer for the purpose of the Consumer Protection Act. But it is but the warranty is the facility given to all the purchaser, regardless of whether it is commercial, whether the product is purchased for commercial purpose or own purposes. That distinction will not make any difference. That commercial purpose or using for the own purpose, that will arise only whether they consider whether product is for personal purpose or not. In other cases, in this type warranty matters, that issue will not come in. That is what the decision given in this case is concerned. Surendra Kumar Escorts Limited case, and this is also about the National Commission case. This involves about the purchase of a tractor by an agriculturist. Now, tractor is really huge investment in lakhs of rupees. Does it mean that the purchase of tractor is a commercial purpose? That is the issue involved in this case. So the court held that the purchase of a tractor for agriculture purpose is not a commercial purpose. That therefore, such purchase agriculturist who purchase the tractor will be treated as the consumer for the purpose of Consumer Protection Act. Even though tractor cost a huge amount of lakhs and lakhs of rupees, the value of the money is immaterial. The quantum of price is immaterial. What is the service, whether the intention to purchase, the purpose and objective behind purchasing that machine or the product is very, very important. So that is what they decided in this is concerned. Now, Indian Medical Association versus Santa. This is the issue about it's a very important case about the medical services concern. In this case, the issue involved was whether a medical practitioner should be regarded as the rendering service under the Consumer Protection Act is concerned. Actually, when the Consumer Protection Act was enacted in the year 1986, it was not specifically covered under the definition of the service. But later on, no, the hospitals, then the patients were say suffering a lot of problems. So then they started moving the consumer courts. Then in the consumer court, the hospitals and the doctor took the plea that service is not covered. This medical profession is not covered under the consumer protection because it's a noble cause and all those arguments met. But in the case, Supreme Court made very clearly that services rendered to a patient by the medical practitioner, except where the doctor renders service free of charge. That is very important. When the doctor renders the service free of charge, then that type of cases are not covered under the Consumer Protection Act. In all other cases, charges and those things are also, all the services provided by charging the fee is covered under this. Again, some of the cases, no, the charity hospitals are there. The charity hospitals, what they do, they give free service for 10 to 15% or so, but they charge that remaining 90% of the patients also. So they took the plea that ours is a charitable institution, so we are not covered under the Consumer Protection Act. But the court made it very clearly, with regard to charitable hospitals or the charitable institution, those who are getting free services, their cases will not be covered under the Consumer Protection Act. But in cases where the charges are being levied, then such type cases, even though services are rendered by the charitable institutions into charitable hospital, they will be covered under the Consumer Protection Act, meaning thereby such hospitals or the doctors will be liable for any deficiency in the service rendered to the patients are concerned. This is that. Then Maruti Suzuki India Limited, Rajkumar Lamba, a person named Lamba purchased a Maruti car. At the time of the purchase, the central government policy prescribed that all four-wheelers vehicles sold in Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta and Madras must be fitted with a catalytic converter. There was no such mandatory requirement in respect of other cities in India. So the car sold in Chandigarh was without a catalytic converter. Yet he was charged rupees 7,000 for the same. That the Mr. Lamba residing in Chandigarh purchased the Maruti car, but the government guidelines said that with regard to sales made in Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta and Madras must be fitted with a catalytic converter, for which rupees 7,000 was charged. But this person who purchased the car from Chandigarh, he argued that the charging of the 7,000 was not proper as per the law, because the Chandigarh was not covered under the central government guidelines concerned. Now the issue involved was, can a car manufacturer charge for a part of this part not applicable under the order of the maintain the price uniformity? Now the decision is, the Supreme Court held that the dual fixation of price is permissible when it is based on a reasonable classification. In the present case, it is not reasonable to make a person where the vehicle does not have a catalyst converter to pay for the same. Accordingly, the Supreme Court dismissed the Maruti's appeal by holding that the charge levied for a catalytic converter without fitting it was an act of arbitrariness and an unfair trade practice. What has happened to Chandigarh? They did not fit it, but they charged the rupees 7,000 extra. That was the issue involved in this case concerned. The issue involved is no, the trader, with the view to bring uniformity in prices between among the cities, he charged the extra amount of 7,000 in cities other than those metropolitan cities. So that was challenged, and the court said that the trader cannot charge extra money for the purpose of bringing uniformity in prices. Now the another case now, Bhupender Krishna and others versus Vishwa Buddha Prasad and others. It's a 2000 case decided by the National Commission. In this case, the National Commission decided that imparting education falls within the ambit of services as defined under the Consumer Protection Act 1980. You know, education is a service. Whether now with the issue involved, whether the education should be treated as service or not, that is the issue involved. The National held that fees are paid for services to be rendered by way of imparting education by educational institutions. This is a great move in the direction of consumer movement, as several schools and colleges are mushrooming day by day. In several other cases also, National Commission clearly held that providing education is a service and has compensated the aggrieved consumers and all. Even I can tell the Supreme Court has also very recently they referred the matter to the larger bench to decide on this matter. But for a long time, Supreme Court held that education is a service covered under the Consumer Protection Act. Therefore, if their students have any grievances, they can very well go before the Consumer Forum for claiming remedies in this regard also. Now another case, SIN Auto Services Herald versus Herald Alfred Lewis. This is also a Karnataka National State Commission case. A scooter was broken down during the guarantee period. In accordance with the directions of the local dealer, the buyer got it repaired at his own cost, changing some parts of the also, because the dealer asked that the person who purchased the scooter to get it repaired by himself, buying his own money. Later on he will repay it. That was his order. But later on the dealer refused to give the money back to the person, money spent for the repairing the vehicle. When the matter went before the court, the Karnataka State Consumer Commission held that dealer to come forward and compensate the purchaser for his loss, expenses, and the mental agony undergone by him. So the shorter point involved in this is, so if the dealer, if he is not in a position to render the required services, then he should incur the expenses incurred by the owner of the vehicle. He cannot delay. He cannot transfer the shift the burden of cost on the consumer is concerned. That was the issue in all this. Now, Lucknow Development Authority versus M.K. Gupta, another important Supreme Court decision, wherein the housing, it is the case related to the housing. House construction. It was about the Lucknow Development Authority, where the people have been paid money for purchase the houses, but the possession was given. And when the case was filed, one of the objection raised by the Lucknow Development Authority was they are the government. They are distinct the sovereign function, so they should not be they should not be covered under the Consumer Protection Act. That is the issue. Their image issues. We are government, so we can do anything. So the people cannot come before us for with any relief and all. But the Supreme Court did not accept it. The Supreme Court rejected their argument, and the Supreme Court said that. Supreme Court said that this case established the jurisdiction of the Consumer Dispute Resolution Agencies in the Consumer Protection Act. So Supreme Court firmly said that housing related matters will come under the jurisdiction of the Consumer Protection Act, and the Consumer Dispute Resolution Commission created the Consumer Protection are capable or competent to entertain such cases. The Supreme Court also further emphasized that the service provided by a private body or a statutory body or a public authority or within the jurisdiction of the Consumer Protection Act. And the Supreme Court also further laid down that the defect or deficiency in such services would be treated as unfair practice and would amount to denial of the services. So this is all about the case law sound. With this, we conclude the discussion on this. Discuss some other day on some other topic. Thank you very much, please.